what the courts have been doing lately. I mean, there was a time you could say, oh, on the facts and the law, this is the likely outcome. Today you cannot, because there have been all kinds of silly decisions. The most silly was that concerning the president of the Senate, who, in order to become Nigerian president, rushed off to buy a ticket to be a presidential candidate of the APC, and that meant he did not take part in the senatorials. Lo and behold, he lost. He now ran back after the horse had bolted, clearly to anybody who has any brain, including the justices of the Supreme Court, I might add, and he said no, that the man actually should be the senatorial candidate. That is the most ridiculous decision I've ever heard that the Supreme Court had delivered. So that's why it's difficult. Of course, I don't want to talk about the case of Imo State, where everything was turned upside down. So I don't have the sort of confidence that I used to have in the judiciary, and I've not been surprised if this thing goes one way or the other. I cannot forecast the outcome. I have the legal tools and the factual issues. So if I put it into my computer, I know what answer it will give me. But I'm not part of the panel, so I don't know whether the justices will see it the way I'm seeing it. But I can tell you, from my own perspective as a lawyer of 45 years at the bar, that the answers are glaringly obvious. But as Oliver Wendell Holmes said in the Raleigh School of Jurisprudence, it is the prophecy of what the court does in fact, and nothing more pretentious, that is the law. So if you ask me what will be the outcome of the petition, first of all, I cannot say because it's sub judice. But second of all, I cannot even say because the Supreme Court itself is unpredictable. It ought to be predictable, which is why people are now beginning to question. There's a new school of thinking coming up to say, should the Supreme Court really be final? See what they're causing now? Should they be final, or should their decisions now be subject to parliamentary review? It's an argument that is now growing in judicial circles. The confidence that is eroding for people to begin to think, what the hell, can't we do something to these people? That's what's happening. I mean, 7 men just come out, sit down on the chair and read something, and we say, okay, that governor is sacked. Why? Who are these people? It should be taken seriously. That would not have happened 20 years ago. When these men come out, you fear them when you see them come out, and when they speak without fear or favor. Is it the same thing now? I don't know.
Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election that was held in Nigeria on February 25, 2023, and the result controversially announced on March 1st, 2023, and that controversial result was challenged at the Presidential Election Petition Court, which delivered its judgment on September 6th, 2023, and the major petitioners not satisfied with the verdict of that court have headed to the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, to challenge the election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president of the country. Now, one of the major petitioners against Tinubu's election is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, who alleged one of his petitions against Tinubu was that Tinubu submitted forged Chicago State University to the Independent National Electoral Commission, which is found out to be true, will be in violation of Section 1371J of the 1999 Constitution, which automatically will nullify his election. And in the effort to prove his case, Atiku Abubakar went to United States, precisely at Northern District Court of Illinois, to compel the Chicago State University to produce the academic records of Aswadi Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And he eventually got what he wanted. when Judge Nancy Maldonado ensured that Chicago State University gave him all that he demanded. Now, since that information got out, since these documents started circulating, it has become subject of discussion by Nigerians in private and in public television and newspaper pages, online and offline. Now that has elicited some reaction. The vast majority of Nigerians appreciate the fact that these matters are being discussed on television, on radio, on newspapers, and anywhere that people have a means of communication. Now, strangely, Olisa Agbakoba intervened in this matter. Why is this strange? His intervention was strange because barely 6 months ago, he condemned the Supreme Court and castigated his current cohorts as delivering judgments based on a confused mindset rather than evidence and law. But in his intervention lately, this former president of the Nigerian Bar Association has berated media outlets for allowing legal debates on the controversies surrounding President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's certificate from the Chicago State University, which he submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission. So Olisa Agbakoba has in his recent intervention berated media houses for allowing legal debates on the matter. In a post on his X account, formerly known as Twitter, the senior advocate of Nigeria said the disclosure by the United States institution that he did not issue the certificate Tinubu filed to run for president was dangerously hitting Nigeria's polity, urging the Nigerian Bar Association to gag lawyers from the matter until the Supreme Court has taken a final decision. Agbakoba's comment, of course, which has been condemned by many Nigerians online and offline, is really a surprise to a lot of people because of the way people hold him in high esteem and hold his views in high esteem. Like we pointed out 6 months ago, he was able to identify that something is wrong, the way the former Senate President, Ahmed emerged as the candidate of the All Progressive, as senatorial candidate from Yobe State when he didn't participate in the primaries. And you saw the video where he was saying that I have lost a bit of confidence on what the courts have been doing lately. That's what he said in March. He said there was a time you could say on facts and the law, this is the likely outcome. Today you cannot, because there have been all kinds of silly decisions. Agbakoba said in March. The video you watched was in March. Now Agbakoba was speaking on the grave injustice that most Nigerians felt the court perpetrated when it suddenly allowed senatorial ticket for Yobe North to be awarded to Ahmed, who was then a serving Senate president that was eyeing the presidency of the country. and paid 100 million naira to purchase declaration of interest form to contest the presidency. And he contested and he lost. And after he lost, he miraculously, so to say, emerged as the candidate, senatorial candidate. In fact, at the validation, at the valedictory session of the Ninth Senate, Senator Rochas Okorocha alluded to this mysterious emergence of Ahmed Lawal as senatorial candidate when he was saying that Ahmed Lawal should teach them the kind of how he played his own politics, that he was able to maneuver his way back to the Senate. After both of them, because Rochas Okorocha also contested for presidential ticket of APC. Rochas said after both of them contested for presidential ticket of APC, he was surprised to see that you, the Senate president, you have re-emerged as a senator again. How did you do it? He said, you have to write a book to tell us how you do this kind of thing. But it was a mockery of the process that threw him up. It's not that Rochas Okorocha was not aware how he did it, how he emerged, or the outrage in the country, because the way he emerged. But it was just to underscore the shame in the whole process. So Agbakoba was right when he pointed out this. And you recall that Senator Ahmed Lawal was not alone in this matter. Even Senator Godswill Akpabio, he contested for the presidential ticket of the APC, and he lost to Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the primaries of the APC, only for him to eventually emerge through the instrumentality of the same Supreme Court as the senatorial candidate of his party in Akwa Ibom State. And today he is sitting pretty as the president of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So it was a well-deserved criticism by Agbakoba at the time. And that decision was also criticized by the United States and the European Union, because they say it strengthened the public lack of confidence in the judicial process. Only for Agbakoba to return to the Senate after making this well-observed and held position, to return back to to say a different thing altogether. And was condemning lawyers that they are not supposed to talk about this matter about President Tinubu's certificate in Washington, D.C., in Chicago, from Chicago. And it was interpreted largely as an intervention to help Tinubu from being under the barrage of criticism that he had gotten lately, following the release of that of his academic records to Atiku Abubakar. Academic records that Tinubu himself rightly pointed out, himself and his lawyers rightly pointed out that it will cause him severe and irreparable damage. So Agbakoba intervened, obviously, to reduce the attention people are paying on it, especially lawyers. He said, I call out all media that tolerate this nonsense of adjudicating the Chicago State University matter on TV and newspapers, said Agbakoba. He also urged the president of the Nigerian Bar Association to call out lawyers that breach rules of ethics by turning the media into court of law. Of course, since he said this, he has received barrage of attacks from Nigerian public on and off social media. Because Nigerians felt that as a public figure, as a person who presented himself to become the president of the country, Tinubu's academic records and details of it need to be discussed by all concerned, because he applied to work for Nigerians. He's like an employee of Nigerians. So those he is governing or ruling ought to know about his academic records, especially when somebody has cast doubt on it, on the authenticity of the certificate he presented. And what is the issue? Atiku Abubakar needed this information on his academic record to prove his case that Tinubu submitted forged documents to the Independent National Electoral Commission, which will be a good ground to nullify Tinubu's election if proven to be true. And already the Chicago State University registrar under oath has said that the document that was submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission by Tinubu didn't come from them, which of course must have been very worrisome to the presidency and their friends. So that is very, very shocking to many Nigerians, that somebody like Agbakoba will say that he's ashamed to see lawyers on television debating the virtues or shortcomings in the Chicago State University case, calling it unhelpful. He said the cacophony of discordant voices on Tinubu article over the certificate matter is completely out of hand. This utter nonsense from armchair lawyers is heating up Nigeria dangerously, the senior advocate of Nigeria said. He went on to say, please, can we keep our opinions and views to ourselves, awaiting a decision of the Supreme Court? Well, we cannot keep our opinion to ourselves. Lawyers cannot keep their opinion to themselves, because that is the beauty of democracy. All issues must be debated and discussed. Of course, we already know, at least the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Bola, has told Nigerians when he inaugurated recently recruited or appointed judges of the High Court. He said that the court does not make his decision based on public opinion. That's what he said. So since he doesn't base it on public opinion can be expressed. Since the Supreme Court has said it doesn't even influence what judges will do in the court. So why then is Agbakoba worked up about this? In any case, the democracy we practice, the presidential system of government, we borrowed it from America. America is the classic case of democracy as we practice in Nigeria. We copied it from them, the presidential system. What we are practicing in Nigeria is different from what we learned from our colonial masters, which was parliamentary system of government, which we inherited from the British. And we have jettisoned that. We know that we inherited our legal system from the British. But even in Britain, a court issue that is of public interest will always be discussed. It cannot be off limit for the media. The media cannot blacklist a particular topic that is off limit to discuss. Look at America, where we copied our democracy. Their former president, President Donald Trump, he has about, I can't count the number of cases he has in court right now. All kinds of indictments flying from left, right, and center. It's like Trump is having indictment almost on a daily basis. But go to Fox News, go to CNN, go to CBS, go to every channel in America. Lawyers are invited. They are talking about it. There are one indictment will come. Lawyers will say this will finish Trump. Trump cannot get away from this one. Another lawyer will come and say Trump can wriggle his way out of it through this. He will cite sources. That is the beauty of democracy. We cannot go and copy Americans' presidential system of government and we will not implement it or follow their footprint. America is what it is today because America is a transparent society. It's only in a country like United States that Trump could face what he's facing. In America today, a former president. Can anybody dare a former president in Nigeria and shove him around courts the way they are doing to Donald Trump in America? And all those issues are being discussed, being talked about. They even took a mug shot of Donald Trump, former president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world at his time, tossing him around. And lawyers are talking about it. Lawyers are debating it. And Agbakoba, who should know better, is saying that lawyers should not talk about the Chicago. He was so particular about this Chicago State University issue. Why is he so worked up about it? If Tinubu had not submitted the certificate to INEC, Atiku wouldn't have identified the alleged discrepancies that motivated him to look for the real result. And now he has gotten what he wants. Of course, some people, it's also about individual views. Some lawyers say Atiku came back empty-handed. He didn't get anything. That nothing he got could help his case. That the Chicago State University registrar said that Tinubu was admitted that he graduated. But others pointed to the fact that the registrar also said that they don't know where Tinubu got the certificate he presented to INEC. But those who are looking at it from the perspective of that he was admitted and he graduated are not claiming that how can you be admitted and you graduated and then you still forge the result. But the truth of the matter remains that the issues at stake, the main issue at stake is the certificate that Tinubu submitted to INEC. Is it authentic? Did it come from the right source? Did it come from where it was purported to have come from? Now, those where it was purported to have come from say they don't know anything about it, which is a classic scenario for alleged forgery. It is now left for the court. The Supreme Court will rule. But lawyers and other Nigerians have a right to talk about it. Because talking about it, who knows, could enlighten even the judges themselves. Look at the matter from different perspective and not just looking at it from their own perspective. Because nobody knows it all. Even though the justices themselves of the Supreme Court, they can't claim that they know it all. But to be honest, to their credit, they claim they don't base their judgment on public opinion. But public opinion is the meat of democracy. Because it is through public opinion that people get to decide who becomes the president of the country and who gets what in a democracy. And Agbakoba cannot be able to gag Nigerian lawyers and Nigerian media, telling them what they should talk about and what they should not talk about. The only thing that the media should be careful is anything that could set this country on fire because of the religious and ethnic sensitivity of this nation. But even at that, it ought to be also discussed. If there is an ethnic or religious issue that is of significance, it should be talked about. And right now in this country, there is no topic more important than Tinubu's certificate from Chicago, because a major contender in that election, Atiku Abubakar, is insisting that it was forged. And if it was forged, the consequences are dire for Tinubu's presidency. Because the Constitution was clear on it, on Section 137(1)(j) of the 1999 Constitution. What will happen to anyone who submitted forged document to the Independent National Electoral Commission? The matter has also been is there in Section 134 of the Electoral Act. So Atiku is standing on a good ground. It is now left for the Supreme Court to determine whether Atiku's standing is strong enough to nullify Tinubu's election, or they will wave his aside like they waved aside so many things by the Presidential Election Petition Court on September 6th. Thank you for watching this video, and if you are new to my channel and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.